Hello. Hello, chat. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Healthy Gamer GG stream. My name is Alo Kanoja. Just a reminder that although I'm a psychiatrist, nothing we discuss on stream today is intended to be taken as medical advice. Everything is for educational and entertainment purposes only. If y'all have a concern or question, please go see a licensed professional. So, welcome, everyone. So we are doing a update stream today. Our esteemed CEO will be joining us in about 5 to 10 minutes. So I think we're going to wait for her to get started. So I'll tell y'all a little bit about why we're doing this. And then if y'all are cool with it, maybe we can just hang out for a little while we wait for her. So yeah, I think, how can I get this started? So this was never supposed to be what it is today, in a good way, right? So when we started Healthy Gamer, it was it wasn't even we picked a name or anything, right? It was hey, I'm gonna start streaming. And then at the time I had someone who helped me set up the stream and we had to register an account. So when I registered an account, I was let's do Healthy Gamer. I don't know. And then that one was taken. So I was okay, healthygamer.com is on auction for like $1 million. So let's be gamers and add a .gg to it. Right. And so like, that's how we got started. And so we started, I started streaming because literally like I was just having the same conversations with the gamers in my office all the time. And I was like, okay, a lot of what people need is not actually psychotherapy or medications. It's like an understanding, education around how technology affects them, how games affect them. And that's kind of where we got started. And then I think the other thing is that early on, like as we had ideas, we shared them with you. And I think Kruti will talk a little bit more about this. But I don't know if y'all remember, but like 4 years ago or something like that, we had a fundraiser to develop a coaching program that was community funded. And so like we had like, and we'll get to this more, but so we sort of had these ideas, like Dr. K had an idea and it was like, okay, let's see if we can do this together as a community. Let's see if we can do it. And then I think something that's changed a lot over the last year is that there's a lot of internal decision making, which I guess we don't talk about quite as much. And there are reasons for that. So one of the early things that we realized when we had a very small team, so I think we hired our first full-time employee in April of 2020. And like, 8 months in or maybe into 2021, we had a small team of like 4 or 5 people. And then sometimes I would have an idea on stream. And if y'all participated in our high performance, high potential groups and y'all were there at the beginning, you kind of know what I mean. So I was like, Dr. K was like, okay, you know what we need to do? Like, there's all these people who struggle with like, I have high potential. Like, I don't know how to do with it. I don't know what to do. And I was like, okay, let's start a group, right? Like, let's start like working on this. Let's meet on a regular basis and we'll have coaches that help them with this kind of stuff. And then after like 1 or 2 weeks of the group starting, we decided we're going to split people into 2 groups, high performance and high potential. And then the first question that everyone had after like 1 or 2 weeks is like, how do you tell the difference between someone who's high potential and someone who's high performance? And then in my mind, I was kind of like, well, if you've accomplished something, then you're high performance. And if you haven't accomplished anything yet, you're high potential. If you're like a college student who's like, in an honors program at a prestigious university, that's like high potential. But then we quickly realized like, this is silly, right? Because what if you're like 2 years out and like you still haven't accomplished a whole lot, but you have a lot of potential. You're one of the up and comers at your like job or whatever. So the groups had all kinds of problems. We learned a lot and we developed it actually eventually into something like career coaching, which has been very successful. So it's all useful, but like we would sort of start with half-baked ideas and then like develop it as we go. And I think thankfully the community was very, very like understanding with this kind of approach. The problem is at some point we stopped being just a straight like duct tape and glue kind of operation, right? At some point, like, we have a team of over 150 people, including coaches and employees at this point. And like, have over a couple million subs on YouTube and 700,000 subs on Twitch or followers on Twitch. And like, we're like a real thing now, right? So we're like got nominated for awards at various places, got featured as a digital innovator or mental health innovator at the American Psychiatric Association. So then like at some point, like we became a real thing. And then at that point, it doesn't work. Like we can't just be like, oh yeah, we built this thing. I'm sorry it doesn't work. And I think this, by the way, is like crazy if you really stop and think about it, right? So we have so many well-established companies, like AAA companies that put out products at huge price tags, like $70 for a AAA game, $80 for a AAA game, plus microtransaction bullshittery, and it's broken at launch. And like we had shit that was broken at launch like 4 years ago, but even today with our, somewhat upgraded duct tape and shoestring and glue kind of like stuff, like we put out good products and we get good feedback, right? And so I think it's crazy. So like, I think we've got a lean, mean team that is really, really awesome. We've got a community that's super awesome. And I think part of what we're going to do today is Because the other thing that made it easier for us to share more about what we were doing is it was like Dr. K is going to think out loud on stream. But at this point, we have people we've got a team of developers, and we've got a product lead, and we've got like marketing people, and we have like a CEO and a CFO. So like now the building in public doesn't quite work the same way because there are people who are actually building it the right way, which is part of what makes our products great, and also part of what like makes HG feel a little bit different. And so today I think the goal is just to talk to y'all about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what we hope to do. And I think we did this some when we launched memberships, which I think some people had concerns about, which is fair enough. We'll get into all of that. So we're going to be like very transparent today, or I think we're going to be very transparent. We'll see whether y'all consider it transparent or not. But, our goal is to really show y'all. And I think some of it is not just this is what we were thinking, but I think a lot of times I didn't understand this either. So when I started out, before it was a we, right? So like it was easy to do things for HG because the only cost was my time. So I would I would work 3 12-hour days in my clinic. And then I would devote two days to HG. So I would like work a whole week. And then, yeah, I have a chair. You can take this one actually, because the mic is still set up in a way that it really only picks up one person. Why don't you sit down here for a second? I'm going to finish my thought and then you can take over. Okay. And I can help you drive. Okay. But like at the beginning, the cost was only my time. And then also it was like, what was our primary product? Our primary product was just stream. So that's pretty simple, right? We just need like some kind of camera. I remember I streamed on a Yeti mic, right? So like I had like an $80 camera and like a $150 microphone, and that was it. That's all we needed. And then I had my gaming PC, obviously, right? Which my work PC. And that's all it took. But now I think as we'll show y'all today, hopefully, that there's a lot more that goes into it. And then I also did not appreciate, like how expensive things are to actually build the right way. And what we hope to do today is to show y'all how we got to where we are, what we're proud of, what we're grateful to y'all for, because we literally could not be here without you. And also why we made some of the choices that we made and what some of the options are. We also want to show y'all a little bit more about behind the scenes, what it takes to build what we have built so far. And I'm going to actually turn things over to Kruti, who is sitting outside of the frame, but that's okay. And I will be sitting next door, or not next door. I'll be sitting right here, but I think you should swap because this mic setup, we got to figure out maybe a 2 mic setup at some point.
Just sitting where you tell me, Bubs.
Do you need water?
I do. Hey guys, I'm straight out of the shower. How's everybody doing?
If you need to do anything with Windows and stuff, tell me. I will do it. Okay.
I need
Don't
to
touch anything. Just speak.
Okay, hold on. How's everybody doing? All right. I'm going to just get a little oriented here because I don't like talking into the void, so I want to make chat bigger and myself smaller. Okay, y'all are going so fast. Okay. Usually I need like a face to talk to. I don't do well with... Anyway. It's been a while since I've gotten to hang out with you guys, and I am realizing that we haven't given any updates on what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we're building. So today I wanted to really connect with you guys and get your thoughts and opinions on what we're kind of trying to accomplish here, what we're building. I think it's been kind of fun because we've made a couple of decisions, right? Like Alok was, okay, I'm going to quit medicine to do this. And at the same time, he was like, but if I do this, I don't want to be somebody who's just selling courses or doing speaking events. He really liked the impact part. So then we kind of made the decision, okay, if we're going to build something, let's build it. Let's make it high integrity. Let's make it sustainable. Let's make it something that he would feel proud to recommend to somebody. And so we started with this coaching program. Way back in the day, there was, I don't know, on a good day, it was like 100 CCV stream. And this was pre-pandemic, right? So there wasn't such a dramatic need. There were people starting to think like, oh, I really could be doing more for my mental health. And so we built a coaching program for, the 100 or so folks that were showing up. And also, by the way, none of this was supposed to work. It was an experiment. Like, let's see if we can do this. But of course, as always, Alok knocked it out of the park. It went really well. And then everything just kind of blew up. And so we said, okay, how do we keep this integrity and do it at scale? And that's kind of where our coaching is. Alok, I am really struggling with how unsymmetrical I am on your camera.
You're not unsymmetrical there.
I'm just unsymmetrical?
No, you're unsymmetrical because it looks like this, and it's an angle. The camera is angled slightly. That's why you look weird. Let's scoot you over here.
I can't even tell why.
Don't look at yourself.
Well, I can't do this whole stream with one eyebrow that much higher than the other one.
Okay, you want to go fix them? Just don't worry about it. We're not here for vanity.
I know, that's why I'm trying to make okay, listen, you had your face blown up. I made it.
That's because I'm so much more narcissistic than you are.
Okay, y'all want to hear something fun? How do I... No, I don't want the whole chapter. How do I just... Can you find chapter 1 for me so I can play it for them? All right. Listen, if I get really unsymmetrical, asymmetrical for you, just let me know. Otherwise, it's going to be a long hour or so. Okay, anyway. So we started building things at scale, and the coaching program was such a hit that we really wanted to continue building on kind of the depth, but also the breadth. So we wanted to get, how do I say this? The quality was so high, but then the pandemic hit and so many people needed help. So we built really fast and really aggressively. So we wanted to make sure that through all that building, the integrity really, really stayed true. And I think we were able to accomplish that. I want to share the impact report with you guys. Volume is a bit low.
Yeah, you need to sit closer to the microphone.
Okay.
This is a problem that we still haven't been able to figure out.
This is... I don't know I can get more close to this.
Yeah, just get here.
This microphone is almost in my mouth.
Hey, that's where it needs to be. So you just sit.
Excuse you.
I will position this.
All right.
Nope, don't move back. There. There.
Okay. Let's try this again. All we're trying to do, I think, today is make sure that everybody understands what we're trying to do and tell us if you guys want to see something else from us. And I want to make sure that kind of expectations meet reality. I think there are, I think this is a pretty small minority, but it's still something we're sensitive to, right? Where there's like kind of outsized, unrealistic expectations of what basically the two of us can pull together. We have been really, really fortunate. I think that the Healthy Gamer team is I got an email because we just had our 21st hire for Healthy Gamer. And it's really cool to see everything grow so big. Like I used to meet every person that we hired. I used to meet I was in on every decision. And now, we're lucky enough to really have a whole scaled up system and infrastructure around mental health resources that we've built for you guys. But the real point here is that it's for you. So if this is not what you want, we are open to hearing what it is that you want. With the coaching program, and that's like, across all of our content revenue, all of our enterprise revenue, all of the coaching revenue, all of the memberships, all of that, about 70% of that goes into maintaining the quality and integrity of the coaching program. It's so important to us that if people are coming in for that kind of experience, that they're really getting the best that they can. So anyway, that's kind of our guiding light, is to build for and with this community. And I wanted to share with you guys some of our plans, some of the things that we're working on. I think you're going to love most of it. I think you're going to have concerns about some of it. So I want to kind of talk through all of it. All right. I agree. Dr. K looks great with long hair. Oh, I also wanted to share with you, have y'all heard? I'm listening to Alec's audiobook right now, which is really not great for a marriage, but I just want to play this part for you, okay?
This is Audible.
Penguin Random House Audio presents How to Raise a Healthy Gamer. End power struggles, break bad screen habits, and transform your relationship with your kids. This is the author, Alok Kanogia, MD, MPH.
Okay, that's all. I was just really proud when I heard that. All
Okay.
right,
So I think people are done with the disclaimers. Let's get into it.
let's get into it.
So what do you want to start with what?
Let's go with the impact report.
Okay.
I think we can just link it in chat, right?
Yeah. Well, we can just show it real quick.
Show it.
I'll do this.
Oh, they want to see you. Come over here. Are you reading
This is-
research articles right now?
Yes, for a moment.
Okay.
It's going to be hard. No, this is not going to work. This
You have known
Hello,
about this.
Chad. I tried to get this chair to work. It didn't work.
I usually get the midget chair.
I know. I got the midget chair this time. I'm the midget today.
Wired.
Because I don't know how to do this. I tried for like 5 minutes. And then, okay. So we don't have to go through the whole, because I think we showed this yesterday, but I think just say what you want to say about.
Well, I just want to send them the link, honestly.
Okay. We'll just share real quick. Go ahead. Say what you want to about the impact report.
I mean, honestly, I want to. This chair situation. I want to know. I want to answer questions. I think the impact report is fairly explanatory. To me, the really cool part about all of this is the coaching program to date has seen 16,000 people go through it, and it still has like a 4.8 out of 5-star rating, which to me is crazy. And we have clients in like 140 something countries and territories, so that's been awesome. What is that?
I think just things that have been built. People are making things.
Okay, why don't we just?
Okay, let's just. Can I take over?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
All right. So this is gonna be. Okay, let's swap. You see if you can figure out how to get this chair to raise.
Oh my god. Okay.
Musical chairs.
No music.
Okay, so we chat. All right, so what are we talking about? So a couple of things about where we started. I saw some stuff on chat.
Just ask them like what they want to know. I don't want to just talk at them.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
So I just want to talk a little bit about like why we built what we built so far and what we want to build going forward. So the first thing is this, just to give y'all a quick timeline, right? So we tried a lot of different stuff at HG. So we tried, first of all, streaming. Here's the problem with streaming is that we got the same questions over and over and over again, and that there's not a library of content. So one of the challenges that we had to face was like, okay, how can we make something that's like almost like a curriculum where if someone shows up later and then says, you know, oh, like, has Dr. K ever talked about this? And for a long time, oh God. So for a long time, people would be like, oh, has Dr. K talked about this kind of stuff before? And then let me see. Okay. So if Dr. K has talked about this, and then what we used to happen, which is great, right, is people in our community would like sift through our content and say, oh yeah, there's a lecture on this, or maybe this other resource from like another mental health creator, or this book is fantastic. So we were very, very like community driven, which is fantastic. The problem is that like y'all as community members don't have quite the same resources at helping each other out as we have as an organization. So this past year, Tech Teller, who's an absolute boss, by the way, has been with us early on, right? So discovered us on the internet, built these resource packs. And so the goal of resource packs is to give people like, you know, like various, oh, okay, you have to be signed in. So a lot of these are various lectures that we've done all over the place. And then they have different kinds of like reflections and videos and exercises and stuff like that. So we built these resource packs, right? So these were also like a kind of a fair lift from a product development side. Like this design and stuff, like these look gorgeous. And these take some time and energy to build. We talked about impact reports. So we started to organize our content. We also did a couple of things, which I'm sure y'all noticed, which is that we started to make content that was not live streams. So what we sort of discovered is that when we live stream stuff, there's some stuff that works really well on live stream, but sometimes people want like very like a to the point 20-minute or 30-minute video that really encapsulates a concept. So we built that. And then some people were happy about that, and some people were not happy about that, right? So a lot of people who were with us at the beginning were like, this stuff seems less depth than the other stuff. We liked the depth that Dr. K used to provide. And that's where we basically ran into a couple of problems. And the first problem is that we grew. So then we had a core problem of like, okay, as we grow, what's the goal for like making what people want, right? Because this is where there's like different subsets of people at HG, and different people want different things. So we started to but we started to do standalone content that would get uploaded to YouTube. But we still continued to stream. And then like recently, for example, a lot of people will ask about things like interviews and stuff. I hope to get back to way more interviews, especially community interviews. In the summer, probably, is when it's going to happen. And the reason for that is also because we grew. And this isn't like, oh, we grew, therefore we're leaving this shit behind. This is okay, let's think about mission for a second. Like, what are we doing here, right? What's the goal? The goal is to try to help as many people as possible with their mental health. And so we have a choice. Like, we always have a choice. So recently I went on a podcast called Diary of a CEO. And the podcast was, from a metrics perspective, very successful. There were a couple of clips that went viral. And then there was a whole discussion that started to happen around like suicidality and especially men's mental health. So what I just want y'all to like think about for a second is that our choice is very simple, right? So I have a choice on any given day. So for Diary of a CEO, I had to literally travel to a different city, right? So it's like for 3 days, being on that podcast costs 3 days of time. So over the course of, let's say, like 50 weeks a year, right? If I'm working 6 days, that's like, it's 1% of my yearly time goes to Diary of a CEO. So in that, when I choose to do that, what that means is that I sacrifice 2 stream days. And then the question is like, is it worth it? I don't know, right? We still actually don't know. So generally speaking, what we found is that being a guest in other places is good in a lot of ways. We had this book come out, so we had to like go to different places, and we went to NBC and things like that. And that was all great, but it's like, once again, we're trying to help as many people as possible. But the problem is that when we do that, we have to make sacrifices somewhere else. And especially if, you know, the main muscle behind HG is Dr. K, then that's a very, very limited resource, which is part of the reason why we started doing things like made a coaching program. And literally the reason that I made a coaching program is because I was getting like 5,000 requests a month in my private practice. And I was like, there's no way I can see all these people. So can I teach people to do what I do in some way? And there's a lot of evidence about peer support and stuff like that in favor of United Nations and World Health Organization and Office of the U.S. Surgeon General. Everyone says peer support is fantastic. I had seen that as an addiction psychiatrist working at a couple of rehabs. So we were like, okay, let's build a peer support program for us, for our generation. This is not AA. It's not an adaptation of AA. You know, there's certain problems with AA, in my opinion, and many people doesn't work well for them. It's a fantastic program overall, and I'm a big fan of it. But let's build something from the ground up for us. And I think if I had to say, like, what are we about? That's the mission statement. Let's build something from the ground up for us. So then came Dr. K's guide, which is people wanted a lot of depth. The problem, once again, with online content is that there's a short attention span and people are coming in and out. And so we wanted to create a linear experience that is like a mastery of a particular topic. So oftentimes, like I was just seeing, you know, like I was reading some YouTube comments from a video. I can show you literally what I'm talking about. I'll screen share this in a second. So I was looking at comments like this, and these kinds of comments is what made us make the guide. Hold on a second. Quiet, you. So like, I'm just going to show you all just one comment from a lecture we had, right? So people would say stuff like, this is not unusual, by the way. Okay. So this person is saying, my God, now I understand why I never paid attention in school. I literally cannot get enough of these lectures. It genuinely feels like I'm listening to Living Life 101. So many basic concepts I just completely missed the boat on. Imagine if something like this was taught in schools, the benefit for children would be incredible. So we got this kind of feedback early on. And so when I made the guide, the goal was to make a, not Living Life 101, but a like Depression 101 or Anxiety 101 or Meditation 101. And let's like turn it into something that is, like really, really in depth. Now, the challenge is that when we do something like that, it's not cheap, right? So this is where we're going to get to a couple of different things. What? Yes. There's so many chairs. Okay.
So many.
So you got to move up. Can't sit like that.
Okay.
Got to move all the way up.
All right. Can we just...
Okay, so let's show them. So I think what we want to do is just show y'all a couple of things that, wait, where is the? We want to show y'all just a couple of things before. What should we start with?
I think I just want to quickly see any questions so far.
You got to speak up and into the mic.
Okay, but I can't see anything with it right there. My God. Any questions so far? My name is Kruti Kanodia. I'm Mrs. K. In chat, I'm Miss Kruti. I am the co-founder of Healthy Gamer, and I run all of the operations. I'm the CEO.
Yeah, so just to give y'all an example, so here's, just to give y'all a sense. So I think sometimes people, I don't know how many y'all are familiar with content creation, but so for example, like for content, this is assuming 2 to 3 lectures or videos per week. Okay, so this is somewhere between 8 and 12 lectures a week. Takes about 290 hours to build.
A month.
A month.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a lot. So I probably spend, to do our standard content of either 2 to 3 streams or video uploads, it takes me about 100 hours a week. So that's about 100 hours a month. So it's almost 24 hours a week, basically. And it takes me about 8 hours of work to do one stream or lecture. Just to give you all some other sense. So like, designing resource packs was a 230-hour investment. Go ahead.
I think we're wanting to kind of pull back the hood a little bit to kind of show you guys how much Healthy Gamer has grown. So the full team, including coaches, mods, editors, is about 200 people at this point, which is wild for something that just started with like all streaming nights and weekends. And I think it's really exciting to continue to build everything. We just want to make sure that we're building what you want. There are some kind of larger forces at play, right? Because we've made a number of decisions. Alok doesn't want to just be an online doctor like that has to take 1,000 sponsorships and stuff like that, right? So we wanted to build actual services, actual mental health resources. So the way Healthy Gamer is funded then is with products that we're building ourselves and selling, as opposed to just taking sponsors and essentially selling out, right? We're also not wanting to be a nonprofit solely because we don't want to constantly be raising money. We also didn't want to take investment capital because we didn't want to be beholden to somebody else. Like, we don't want to do all of this just to make somebody else super rich. Like, that's not the goal, right? We want to be able to price things as affordably as possible. We want to build for you guys. We don't want to be driven by an outside force. So if we're not taking investors, if we are super picky about sponsors, if we've made the decision that like we want to actually practice what we preach and build the things that we wish existed, then that's kind of what's led to a lot of these decisions. So that's just like kind of background for all of the stuff that we wanted to talk to you about today, like the impact that we've driven through the impact report, and also like to show you guys how much some of this stuff takes, which we love building. We just want to show you.
Yeah, and I think the big thing here is that so we're investing in building stuff, like just a couple of other things that we built. So a couple things that worked really well. So Touch Grass was awesome. If y'all remember the Touch Grass challenge, Right in the Fields was awesome. So Right in the Fields continues to evolve. So that's part of the reason why, it took our dev team weeks to build this. And it's awesome. And then we also want to show y'all, like, we're going through some major updates with the guide. And we'll talk a little bit about, like, why we're doing this. But just to give y'all a sense, right? So, yeah.
So Right in the Fields is also included with the AOE Healer membership now because it was so successful. We wanted to kind of keep it going. So it's in the membership tiers for AOE Healer level.
Yeah. And so there's a couple of changes going on with the guide. So we're making something that is a little bit more. So I think originally, I don't know if y'all kind of remember this, but we had this kind of sphere grid thing, right? So I don't know if anyone's playing FF7 Rebirth, but I am, and I'm hooked, and it's great. And so I played FF10 many years ago, and I was like, this is cool, right? So what we want is like in a character development kind of way, like going back to the School of Life 101, we want to make a competency-based grid for your life. So it's like if you want to like, become an expert at whatever, like there's information here that we can unpack all of these things and like teach you these things one at a time. And my vision was that someone could go through the guides, and it's basically like a curriculum to teach you how you work. And we're building it one guide at a time. And so we're starting with like very popular mental health topics and things like that, but we're like inching into other things. So guides are getting to the point where they're overwhelming. So we got some feedback that they're like, I don't know where to start. This is way too big because yeah, like learning how to live life is like a complicated topic. So we're going through some design changes and we're going to make things a little bit more linear. And now it's going to be more like competencies that are easier to navigate. So this is too confusing once we get, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's like 49 videos in the ADHD module, 26 in the meditation, 28 in anxiety, 28 in depression. And so this is too many dots. It's just as overwhelming. So we need to start reorganizing things. And there's also more intersections between the guides. So we're reorganizing this. And then I think we're also moving into other things. Yeah. So the other thing that we're kind of looking at is trying to, let me see if I can find start your journey. Where is this?
It's going to be over to the side.
I'm looking for something in particular.
So we've grown our development team and also freed them up, I think, from some of the more mundane behind the scenes stuff. So they have been, I don't know, I think this all looks really cool. Really interested in what you guys think. And it's also one of my favorite things is, so like Tech Teller has been with us from the beginning. And I really don't think that there's anybody that can create a community and community experiences as good as Tech does. Like, I think he is the best of the best. Trinian has been with us from the beginning, and I don't think anybody understands the features and functionality that make, I don't know, mental health education fun the way that Trinian does. So that's what's really cool about all of this is he's been with us forever.
So we should call him on Discord?
Yeah. And Trinian will walk everybody through it.
Okay.
Thanks, Tech. I was just
Wait, but what is, can you tell him to DM me? I don't know what his Discord is.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that.
Okay. Oh, I think we may not, okay, there he is. Okay. All right, let's see if you can. Okay, hold on. We got to do a couple things. So, Brandon, you're going to have to walk us through this, but I need to add a source.
It's okay, take your time.
Audio output capture, existing desktop. Say something, Trinian.
Hi, can you hear me? 1, 2, 3.
Keep talking.
Talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So the only thing is I'm going to put myself on mute. You're going to be able to hear me, but stream will not be able to hear me because we need to still get this stuff set up. And so why don't you talk us through the guide, okay? And I'll just drive.
Sure. What were you looking for earlier?
I was looking for the question stuff. Is that here when we ask?
Oh, like
questions?
which questions?
Like how to like question-based recommendations.
Yeah, that is. Can I share screen and show it on stream, or actually you can do it too if you want to. On Figma, click on the top right play button. Yeah. Yeah. Let me... Nice. Okay. So I think this is what you were looking for originally, which is like these questions here, which is like we are making the guide a little bit more questions based, where if you want to answer this question about this specific domain in anxiety, you would come to these little playlists or paths that you could do. But basically the experience is, let me see here if I can everything okay right now? Okay, sure. Cool. So if we started from here, the idea is that we want to make it a little bit more custom and a little bit more guided. So, like you were mentioning before, how we now have 5 modules now, and the map itself as a sphere grid, as a skill tree, is kind of getting overwhelming. So, our idea now is to make it a little bit more guided, more personalized to the user who comes in and wants to go through the guide and get some questions answered or go through specific modules that they are looking through. So I'm going to skip the survey, but basically right now there's an intake survey here that allows for us to get some basic information, some baselines first, and then that'll customize the experience of how we recommend videos to the user, how we kind of navigate them and guide them through all the modules of the guide. So skipping this for now because we don't have it for designs, but same as the current experience where there's a couple intro videos where you can watch kind of how to use the guides, why the guides are developed, and then kind of start your journey afterward. And when you come to this view, it's we've kind of structured each of the modules now into more of a core knowledge path where you have core knowledge materials that is essential to the understanding as a baseline for the module itself. So there's a core knowledge for anxiety, there's a core knowledge for depression. All the other ones will have one too. And as you go through each of these core knowledge paths, which is a few videos, 2 to 4, not too many, you'll get a basic understanding of how the module itself is structured and what you're supposed, what you want, what you can get out of it. So once you've kind of watched that core knowledge and you go back to all the paths, this is kind of where you can find out other paths within the specific module that you can explore to dive deeper on specific topics or learn more. And kind of what we recommend to you here in this area, like at the top under this progression, is based off of what you answer in that baseline intake quiz, and will be custom to each person. And each module will have its own recommendation based off of what originally the intake quiz kind of calculates. Mentioning before, where we're basing a lot of the questions, or basing a lot of the module topics around questions that you want to get answered in the module itself, and you can go through these playlists or these paths to answer these questions more completely if you watch them from beginning to end. So right now the only example we have is, again, this anxiety module, like core knowledge, but each of these will contain a custom playlist of tracks and custom videos that are based off around that core knowledge or that specific question that you may have around, how do you understand the origins of anxiety? If you click in here, it'll be like a series of videos talking about anxiety behavior. If you're interested in the Eastern perspectives of anxiety, there's a track for that too. So it's really divided and much more digestible in terms of when you first jump into it. So that's really like the idea behind the new guide, how we're kind of structuring it. And there's still like the original features we have. So we still do have the meditation index here, where you can look at all the meditations. We do have an improved glossary, and we do have like favorited videos where you can come in here and favorite specific videos that you're interested in and come back to them later.
Okay, so Brandon, I muted you for a second. So I want to just tell y'all a couple of things. So Brandon, you can stay in the call if you want to, but I'm gonna just talk for a second. So the other thing that we wanted to do, or actually I'm gonna hop out of the call. The other thing that what we're kind of moving towards is there are a couple of things to consider, right? So one is, so if we try to understand what's wrong with people's mental health in the world today. So there's some lack of information, right? So if we go back to like this YouTube comment, right? This is kind of like living life 101, right? We're trying to address that with some of these things like this video. Like this video, I was so happy it did well. It's like 800,000 views a month ago, and it's not like some, famous guest or something like that. It's just a really good video, thankfully. So there's teaching you all the information. But what we really discovered from things like Right in the Feels is that And this is why I'm so excited about Right in the Fields and why we continue to kind of build towards it. So there used to be like, okay, either we're going to give you information, or if you want to get a particular outcome at a particular time, you should sign up for coaching. So we're huge fans of the coaching program. We think the outcomes are really strong. It's part of the reason that we get invited to give talks at places like the APA and things like that. The career coaching program is also started off actually quite slow, but has been steadily growing like ever since we launched it. And we get really, really, really good feedback. And why did we build a career coaching program? For a couple reasons. The simplest is that, see, our approach to mental health is like, there's some stuff that you need to do internally, but there's no substitute for like external success. Like there's no substitute for security. There's no substitute for financial freedom. There's no substitute for like these real world things. And so we built that program because we realized that people need help building their careers, and that will have a positive impact on their mental health. And this is just as a psychiatrist, I realized like, and I started doing this work a lot with my patients. So when I had someone who was recovering from an addiction, I'm working on a lecture on this, but just the phases of addiction recovery. But what I realized is that like, ultimately this person, if they want to stay sober, they have to have a life that is worth living. So the core reason why people keep on relapsing, or not the reason, one reason that I saw is that the cost of the relapse subconsciously is not very high. There's a big difference between I'm unemployed and I'm trying to get sober and like, let me just get high this weekend or let me get hammered this weekend, like whatever, I can pick things up later. And so once people really have something that is valuable to them and gets negatively affected by their behaviors, that's when I really saw long-term sobriety become easier for people. Because if you think about kind of, and I know I'm going off on a tangent, I swear I'll come back. But if you kind of think about like on a given weekend, right, unless you have a life that is like full of joy and where you're progressing towards things and stuff like that, like what's really the cost? It's so easy to procrastinate on putting your life together if there are substances involved. So we kind of were like, okay, we're going to teach you all some stuff through things like lectures, streams, whatever. And then there's coaching to help you accomplish your goals in a evidence-based kind of like time-limited period. And I think that's the real value is like, it's not that you need it. It's that the question is, so I recently started working with a swimming coach. And why did I do that? Because I wanted to get better at swimming within like 1 month. Like I was like, instead of just watching random ass YouTube videos, I'm going to invest the time and energy because I want to be a proficient swimmer like 30 days from now, not like whenever the hell I get around to it. Right. And that's really what the value is the other thing that I noticed in people's lives is that I think our field in psychiatry and even in public health, like when I hear people talking about, oh, there's a mental health crisis, like I don't get the sense that people really understand the urgency. And maybe that's my projection. But that like lives are being ruined in 90-day intervals. Like 90 days is what it takes to get a set of Fs on your trend. That is like permanent health damage. That's not like temporary damage that you can heal. That's like, we're going to drop down from 100 max HP to like 90 max HP. Your life will be permanently harder because of that. And that's the real urgency that makes me focus on very like time valuable, efficient interventions. So that's the other thing, by the way, that we wanted to build is we wanted to build interventions so that it's not just talking about mental health and like, hey, take my course. I got some advice many years ago that, hey, like all you should do is like build courses and you'll be rich overnight. And like, that's fine. Like we do build courses and we try to make them as affordable as possible because they're purchased by people in 121 countries, which is a win in our book. Yeah. And at the same time, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like, you know, courses on the internet don't usually run 20 or 25 or 30 or for $35, $40. They usually run like hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars. And we very intentionally made the decision to not price things that way. So going back to where we're going, so Right in the Fields is really interesting because it is the first example of us trying to incorporate a skills building, competence-based component that is not coaching. So the feedback that we got about coaching is that some people can't afford it, which is understandable. We try to. You want some? You want this? Okay. All right. So this is kind of where we're trying to go with right in the feels is like, I think the next thing that we need to build is something that is personalized and more dynamic. So now we have like this body of knowledge and we have certain interventions that we think will help people actually train the skills. Now the problem is we have so many different people who have so many different questions and interested in so many different things. It doesn't work. I don't know if this makes sense. Dr. K showing up and answering a particular question on this particular thing on like April 8th doesn't fix the problem. So what we really need to build is something that is dynamic, assembles all the crap that we have taught about, and serves people up with what you need. And that's why I thought it was so great that what Trinian is building is like, the guide is fundamental. I mean, it's still there in linear and you can go through all of it. But the key thing is that you can show up, you can figure out, okay, what questions matter to me? We've spent literally 2 years on the research side developing, like looking at evidence-based validated questionnaires and trying to figure out if someone comes in and says, I struggle with my mental health, what is the smallest number of questions to ask them to where we can use a validated instrument to detect what your problems are, even if you're not aware of it. And then using that battery of questions, which we're trying to minimize because who the fuck likes filling out surveys? Then what we're going to do is direct you to the right kind of content. And then this is where the last thing, so that piece is like completely new. And then the last piece that is also completely new is we've got the videos. We don't have any way to direct people to the right videos. And then the next thing is, what are the interventions that we can build where once you're done watching the video, you have information, but you don't necessarily have behavioral change. You don't have a boost to your EQ. That's what Right in the Fields does, right? So Right in the Fields has a really cool exercise called empathy labs. And there's literally something called mentalization-based therapy, which is very, very useful for people who are like narcissistic. And in mentalization-based therapy, what we do is people who are narcissistic cannot understand what someone else's experience is. And if we look at like all of these problems that people are having around loneliness and social isolation and like inability to form relationships and tired of making small talk, what we can literally do is level up your EQ through something like empathy labs. And so we're developing these kinds of things where I think the next iteration is going to be, right now we do content and we do coaching. And coaching is very, very value driven, and it is still out of the reach of a lot of people in our community. So for content, we have a lot of free content and then some amount of paid content. I don't think the paid content can really get any cheaper. It just can't economically. But then there's another thing that's missing, which is, okay, if you want to like put together your life, how can we direct you to all the right videos? How can we even understand what your problems are using validated instruments that you may not know? And then how can we develop some kind of tool that in a focused manner allows you to practice and improve whatever you're working on? And so that's kind of like the next big iteration for us. So a lot of this stuff, but things are like one step at a time, right? And then there's like outside crazy stuff, like people were like, okay. So when we posted, the name of this video, and then this kind of happened, like, it's official, we're headed to the ranch. And as much as I want to do that, I think that's also where, like, if we wanted to do that, we would have to, that takes a lot of money. Like, I was talking to Kruti the other day, but she was kind of explaining to me that most companies that end up where we are today with the amount of users engaged, the number of people who are like have gone through coaching, the number of people on Discord who have a YouTube channel the size that we are, the average investment for a company like this is between $20 and $100 million.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have like, if you followed some of these other, so like, let's just see if we can find
That was the top article.
I just wanted to find the Wikipedia. Just to give y'all, like, is this not in Wikipedia?
No.
Oh God. Okay. So like, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of like Pear Therapeutics, but Pear Therapeutics started maybe, I don't know, maybe a year. Founded in 2013. And so Pear Therapeutics was like this company that was built out of, I think, Boston. And like, they were all about something called digital therapeutics. So they're like, we're going to take psychotherapy and we're going to like turn it into an app. And they raised, I don't know how much they raised, but they went bankrupt.
It was over $100 million.
Right. So Pear Therapeutics like raised $100 million or over $100 million. And then like, you know, like it kind of went bust, which is sort of what's going on right now. So a lot of these, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want to find the actual information. Yeah, but they were operating on losses over $100 million. So they made $12.7 million in revenue in 2022 and lost $123.4 million. So I think maybe where this is going is, you know, if we wanted to do this the way everybody else did this, we would be doing a few things. We would be really trying to play with insurance systems, which I think we all know you don't get the best care when insurance is paying for it. One of the reasons why companies like Pear go under is because if payers or insurers don't want to adopt what you're doing, and that's what you're completely dependent on, you can't play in that space. So essentially all we're trying to say is, for us to truly do this our way, for us to truly say we want to build things for and with this community, we have to have our own kind of economics behind it. We don't want to depend on investors. We don't want to depend on donations. We don't want to overprice and underdeliver. We don't want to do any of that. So what we're trying to say is, as you see things change, if I think we raised our module, prices in our...
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
So I think people are super confused. Like, people are asking questions like, are we going bankrupt?
You're so chaotic.
Okay,
Just
let me
calm down.
tell y'all what's going on. So here's where we're coming. So I think we're showing these. I'm just showing that as an example. We're not about to go bankrupt. Okay. So let me tell y'all what's going on. So we started this to help y'all. I think we did really well. We also built it to be sustainable, right? So this is where, like, and basically, like, the one thing we've tried to avoid, and I'm not saying we won't do this in the future, but we've tried very carefully to be beholden to y'all, right? So because like, think about it. So this is where, so when a startup starts, right, they get money from a couple of different places. Either you can go to the nonprofit route, which I know a bunch of people are big fans of. I'm not a big fan of it, because when you have a donor for whom you are dependent on for the survival of your enterprise, and the donor walks in and says, I want to start doing this, you don't get to say no. So like, even compared to investors, I think that I've worked very heavily with 2 nonprofits, and my experience with them is that that's when you actually have the least creative control for the direction of what the organization does. Because if the donor says something, that's what you do, right? They provide the money, so that's who you're beholden to. You can take capital investment. And in the case of capital investment, it's good in a lot of ways. A lot of people do it for good reasons, right? And I think if we had taken capital investment, we would have been twice as big or 3 times as big or whatever. Like, that's the whole point of it. But then still, it's like, then someone has a financial interest in this that comes at the cost of the community. And then the other option that we've got is sponsorships. So that's where, like, to be blunt, we turn down sponsorships that are an order of magnitude higher than what we accept from many people. And the reason we do that is because it doesn't feel right. right? So like, for example, if I were to take, let's just say hypothetically, like a gambling sponsorship, those pay a lot, or a crypto sponsorship, those pay a lot. And we choose not to take those. So we want to be sustainable. We don't want to be beholden to someone else. We don't want to take that gambling sponsorship. I'm fine with Raid Shadow Legends, TBH. So you guys have seen more sponsorships on our channel, and we're doing that because here's the question is like, where does the money come from? The more money we take from sponsors, the more we can build stuff at a reduced cost or free. So if we don't sell out to sponsors, then we got to sell out to someone. The money's got to come from somewhere. And our choice so far on balance has been, we're going to build stuff that y'all want, and we're going to be beholden to y'all. That's it. There's no, and then if you guys want a ranch, then we need like way, 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 way more money, which I'm not suggesting that we do because I don't even know what the fuck would happen there. But it's like, it's basically like, well, the main thing that we're going to try to build, and there's not anything after this. The main thing that we want to build, or the point of this stream is to tell y'all, we're migrating more towards this model of like, okay, let's understand what your needs are a little bit better, and let's build more stuff on the skills side, the skills building side, accountability side, so that people are actually like implementing those changes. That's very different from working with a coach and me making lectures. So this is where people are saying, what's wrong with crypto? And you're right. So here's the challenge that we face. I want y'all to just think about this for a second, okay? So whatever decision we make, one slice of our community is going to be unhappy because some people are like, yeah, you should absolutely, like, I live in a developing country. I can't afford much. Fair enough, right? I think on balance, it's way better if you can take $10 million from an exclusive streaming deal on a different platform that shall remain unnamed, right? If you take an exclusive, like, sure, if it builds me free stuff and I'm living in like Bangladesh, like, go for it. Like, what the hell do I care? You can go ahead and do that. On the flip side, other people will be like, no, this is not right. You guys should be a nonprofit. And so then that's totally fine. But then like our operations would be way different if we were a nonprofit. Like, I don't think we would produce half as much content. I think we would have produced half the content, if even. My gut check is we would produce 5 times more if we took capital investment, twice as much or 3 times as much if we took just whatever sponsorship came in the door, right? Like, we could, but we choose not to. And so our goal in today, it's not, we're not stressed out or anything. It's just, we're telling y'all, right? So and where does it come from? And we kind of decide we'd rather build half as much, but be careful about who we take as sponsorships, not take capital investment, and then charge y'all money for what we build. Because I think that's when you actually get the best relationship, because there isn't a third party. Like, this is what we fucking see in the American insurance system, is like, doctor thinks that a patient needs something, patient likes it or doesn't like it. The two of y'all are involved and y'all can either work it out or not.
Robertino.
Oh, wow. Hey, Tino. How are you doing, man? That's great. So Tino is a very good friend of mine from medical school, who's also an amazing psychiatrist. And it's cool to see how you're doing, bro. I will text you later. Thanks for stopping by. And so the main thing that we want to tell y'all is, and that's fine. So any given person can say, I think this is the way that you should do it, which is fine. Our experience, unfortunately, has been that whatever we do, some group of people thinks that we should be doing it differently, which is, they're not wrong. It's just, this is the reason we do it this way. And what we really want to build, we want to build more for y'all. So the other purpose of this is like to tell y'all what we're thinking, right? So there's one more guide coming out. I started working on another book. We are going to continue with memberships because I think people are finding like really, really immense value out of that. We understand and acknowledge that because there's value, other people may benefit from it as well. And we're not deaf to that feedback at all. It's just trying to figure out, okay, like, how do we make this work for people who can't afford it? And we're working on it actively. And then, yeah, if you guys want a ranch, like, you know, someone needs to pony up $100 million and then we'll do it. or we can go at the slow way, and
Yeah,
it'll
we're
take
going
it.
the slow, steady, sustainable way. But okay, okay. You take a breath.
I'm done.
Good. All right. So, just on kind of how we're evolving and how we're changing, I just want to make it like really simple. Nothing dramatic is happening. Essentially, we are seeing the need to raise prices. So we're raising some prices. I think we really dramatically underpriced during the pandemic. Again, we wanted to meet people where they're at. We didn't want to charge thousands of dollars for courses and stuff like that. So, but we do need to steer the ship, right? And again, there's about 200 people behind Healthy Gamer at this point. So we are raising the prices on the guides. We are adding more coaching types, and there should be, I think, more coaching spots coming next week. There are some now. We are really investing a lot, I think, in two core areas. One is the HG Institute. Okay, mic closer. It's look, I can touch it with my chin. It's right in my face.
And maybe you need to speak louder.
Okay. All right. So, two core areas of investment going forward. One is with the HG Institute. So, the HG Institute is an accredited continuing education platform. So, the coolest thing, like our dream, right, is that you guys can work with therapists and like real mental health clinicians who understand the HG way. And the Institute is accredited by the American Psychological Association, by the Social Worker Board, and we're working on a couple more accreditations. One is also with NADAC, which is the addictions group. They are the ones who run the peer support certifications. So we're really investing a lot in kind of that AOE of now teachers, therapists, other people can learn the Healthy Gamer way and employ that in their own practice. So really excited about that. It's very resource intensive. It is very, I don't know if you guys are familiar with healthcare regulations, but like every state has their own licensing. It is just the most bureaucratic, ridiculous thing, but I really think it's going to be worth it in the end to spread what we know to other people who work with young people. And then another big area is in this community layer. So we started with memberships. We're wanting to create more kind of experiences. So we have the guides and we're adding the trauma module. That'll be ready for pre-sale next week. So we're really excited about that one coming out. But the real kind of what we've heard is skills, right? We do a lot of teaching and content, and we are working on coaching where people can kind of create those lasting changes. But what we're really hearing is the need for developing skills. So that's why Right in the Fields is so great, because it's really teaching EQ and EQ skills. So we're wanting to invest more in this community layer through memberships and other things. That's, I think, the long and short of kind of where we're going. I would really love to open the floor for questions. So I think we're going to just kind of gravitate towards chat. And Tech Teller, did you want to run any polls or get any input? Feel free to. All right. Will the Institute ever be accredited in other places than the US? Great question. That's why we're working with NADAC. NADAC is an international organization, so they do addiction support internationally. Yes, we do want it to be accredited internationally. Can you specify new pricing? Yes. So we wanted to kind of show you guys how much work is going on behind the scenes, right? We wanted to show you how much work the developers are putting into mobile experiences, to new features and functionality, all that good stuff. where we raised prices by $5 across the Healthy Gamer portfolio. So guides were $25 a module. They're now $30 a module. Coaching was starting at $30 per session, which is now at $35 per session. So
I regret to inform you all that now the guide is officially more expensive than Horse Armor DLC and Diablo 4. And this was generally speaking, when we're trying to think about the value that we deliver with products, we really ask ourselves, does this help people more than Horse Armor cosmetics in an action game? And, I have to say that this was a huge personal loss to me, because I feel like when I think about the value of Horse Armor DLC, I don't know if the trauma guide can match it. Because just think about how beautiful that horse looks with the horse armor.
okay, I'm going to take the mic back. Okay. The main thing is I wanted to also... Jeez. All right, any questions, guys? All right. I think I'm hoping that this is where we can kind of stabilize on pricing. We really want to keep things affordable. I realize kind of with every price increase, that means some people get left behind, but that's why we're also trying to do things that are like $10 a month. So people can kind of join in when they can, and
Hello?
they can take a break very easily.
Hey, you can find questions in the YouTube chat if you switch from the top chat to questions. We have Q&A going on.
Oh,
here.
perfect.
Live chat? Top chat?
No, you had it.
Questions? Do you
Top
see that?
chat. Live chat. Oh, no, we don't see questions, Bubs.
Maybe it's not. I think. You know what? I think I know how to find it. Let me see if it's over here. Can you?
To be on the
Also,
between
yes,
the
you guys are getting a behind the scenes look at what it's like to work with All Oak. It really takes like 20
Can you send me
humans to try to draw
a Slack
out
DM with the link?
things from All Oak to make everything actionable.
Okay.
It is
No, the problem is that the plugin, the chat plugin on OBS, I don't think has the same functionality.
okay.
So we need a pop out link, and then we'll find questions.
Oh, that's the problem. If I'm on this side of the mic, does that help? You need a new mic. Why is this still a problem?
Because
We've had
been.
the production company out here like 3 times.
I know, and they got that amplifier thing, which gives it a buzz. So that didn't work. So that's.
Do y'all want to see All Oak's performance review?
Okay.
All right, maybe we'll do that. We'll do All Oak's performance review.
I see fan funding.
You know, he got kicked out of all of our management meetings.
I do not belong there.
No, it was such a mess. He has been stripped of all of his direct reports. He has been kicked out of
Okay.
all of management meetings. But really, we just, as you guys would say, we want to just let him cook. That's the goal. Meets expectations most of the time. Yes. I see a question. Do I have to buy the new modules separately? So if you're already a customer, I believe you will get, if you already have purchased the guide, you will get, I think, preferred pricing on launch. I don't know the complete details there, but if you already have the guides, you'll be getting an email that lays out what the pricing looks like. But we do have some preferred pricing for current customers. Again, if you bought modules before at $25, we want to like kind of honor that that's the value exchange. What is happening to the module bundle? So We always like to bundle things and discount it. So right now you get 4 modules for 100. When the trauma module comes out, I believe you will get 5 for 120. Bye, methane. Sorry. Yeah, we're talking shop here today. Oh, of course you keep the old guide. I think everything will be updated to the new interface, but I'm not... Trinian would have details there on if it's a forced update or if you can update on your own. Loyalty pricing. That's exactly right. Any new book in the works? Yeah, he's writing a...
No, don't tell him what it's about. It's secret.
Okay, that scared me so loud.
Okay.
Okay, I've heard the request for regional pricing a lot. I don't know how to do that, and we are building so many things that really pricing should be appropriate. It's going to be on the higher side for some currencies, but we don't have that ability for regional pricing right now. Non-English, yes, we are about to release the guides in Spanish, and we're doing it kind of one at a time.
Okay.
Okay. Can I pay with my HSA? We are working on ways to do that. Again, it's through the Institute, and it's going to be kind of a long, I don't know, bureaucratic road, but we are working on ways for your people to use their benefits to be able to purchase Healthy Gamer resources. Essentially, we're working really hard on how to plug in like our funky little experiment that is Healthy Gamer into the larger mental health ecosystem. Like one day I would love to have therapists, med management, like in-person experiences. I would love to do the full stack. We just got to get there kind of step by step instead of trying to do everything all at once. We've kind of tried to be ambitious and do many things at the same time, and it just doesn't go as well for us. So we want to be able to really do things super well, one thing at a time. And the rest of the year is really around the Institute and community. So what is the HG Institute exactly? I believe the website is hg-institute.com. HG Institute essentially says, okay, here is what we think therapists should know before they start working with this community. So it takes kind of a lot of the same principles and ideas, but it packages it up for clinicians so clinicians can get credit for their continuing education requirements. And we can help therapists do great work with young people. We've heard so much from therapists saying, hey, I really want to implement this stuff in my own practice. And we've heard so much from the community, hey, I tried therapy, it really did not go well. So I think there's an acknowledgement in the therapy world that like, hey, we don't really know how to work with young people as well as we should. And so we said, hey, we think we can help. And so we are trying to help therapists help you. How do you guys not have merch? We have merch. We are just not very good at merch, but we have it.
Yeah, and related to that, part of the reason, I mean, so merch is great. Like, honestly, it's great. Like, don't get me wrong, but we're pretty focused on trying to primarily offer value if y'all are purchasing something. So, like, I love the hoodies. Like, the hoodies are great. I like merch. There's nothing wrong with it. But when I really think about it, it's like, what do we want to invest if we're going to charge y'all $30 for something? Do we want to prioritize the merch store, or do we want to prioritize building a guide to trauma? And that's where the merch store just does not.
The merch store, like, yeah, we haven't figured out how to. We wanted to do more than sell T-shirts, but I would like to actually have some better merch on there. Can you please go back to chat? What are you doing?
I'm going to chat.
Okay.
I'm trying to get to chat, but
Okay.
Twitch is showing me ads.
On your own stream?
Yes, it's. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to figure out.
Sorry, we have to watch our own. There we are.
Okay, so let's. No. Where do I see?
It's the top right arrow.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're the best.
I am indeed.
Okay.
There was a great question that I was
There, double
wanting to
chats.
answer. Could we offer Japamala in merch? It is hard to find legit ones. We have been trying for 3 years to put together meditation kits for the merch store with like a good yoga mat, good incense, good candles, like good stuff. But I don't want to sell you a $200 meditation kit that has like stupid stuff in it. You know what I mean? We haven't been able to price it the way we want to price it and find the stuff that we want to find, but we are working on it.
Yeah, so just to give you all just a.
We got it. We can't both answer all of the questions.
No, but this is this is cool.
Okay.
So like if you want to verify the authenticity of Rudraksh, right, which is oftentimes used in malas, you actually have to x-ray it. So like the quality controls for some of this stuff, which like I know there's probably not science to it, but I really do believe that some of these things are like D&D and video games, like have magical powers that give you like a +10 to your meditation check or whatever. So you know, part of building some of this stuff is like we want to find like high quality stuff, and that's like hard to do. Yeah, good Rudraksh is like hard to come by. So like a good Rudraksh mala, like, you know, is I think at least $50. And then there's also the concern of like, okay, what if people can't afford it? So then what do we do? Yeah, so people are saying Tulsi over Rudraksh, and that makes a lot of sense, right? So Tulsi is way easier to get. And then it's like before we start, some of this stuff is honestly my fault, because then what I'm trying to do is understand really what the attributes of each of these kinds of malas is. Because everyone says use Rudraksh, but you can use Sukhar, you can use rosewood, you can use crystal, you can use different kinds of stone. And so I'm going to show you all a couple of books in a second, but I'm doing research and trying to figure out what are the actual, like, if you use a particular crafting material, what is the spiritual buff that you get? I'm going to let her answer more questions while I show you all what I've been doing.
Also, Trinian, if you're around and want to take any of the specifics in chat, please feel free to. All right. Take this over here. Somebody asked for PayPal. We do have PayPal. Somebody asked for PayPal. We do have PayPal on the guides, but we don't have PayPal for coaching because PayPal, I don't believe, lets us set up recurring billing. So it's just kind of logistically very complicated. Canada, no membership access. Okay, we'll look into that. Is this his lady? Yeah, I'm Mrs. K. Hi, nice to meet you. You still can't hear me? This is wild. Okay. Will it still be called Healthy Gamer when Healthy Creator comes out? Yeah. Healthy Creator is kind of a spin-off brand, but what we do is pretty core, so I wouldn't... Yeah, the Healthy Gamer brand is kind of here to stay. Where can we go as community to give feedback or opinions, whatever, on anything? So we watch the Reddit. It's kind of, a double-edged sword because usually the most inflammatory stuff on Reddit gets to the top. So it's, pretty accusatory and pretty hostile, but we're kind of always listening. We look at comments on YouTube. Our internal Slack channel is always like, hey, did you see this comment? I think this person makes a great point. These people are asking for this kind of content. Can we do this? Can we do that? So we're kind of always listening. This stream, honestly, is in response, or not really. We like to communicate with you guys every quarter or so. But this is a great avenue to ask whatever you want to ask.
Yeah, just piggybacking off of that, I think this is why we do things like this, right? So the goal of the stream today is for us to share a little bit about what we're thinking. So you all have some context for some of the direction that HG is going, and also for y'all to ask questions and stuff like that. So I see a couple other questions. So I just want to show y'all. So I'm doing research. So two of these books are by David Frawley, Tantric Yoga and Mantra, the Primal Sound. And then the really interesting thing, if you really want answers in this, you actually have to go back to like the Puranas. So someone asked me a question recently about reincarnation. So more people are asking about like, how do I access past lives? So I'm not sure is the short answer, but we have to kind of dig deep. And I'll just give you all an example. So like there's a chapter in the Garuda Puran where he talks about the process of rebirth. So like this is so this stuff is hilarious. Okay. Those with a positive credit to their ultimate account get birth in noble or good houses. They are conceived on the 8th day after the menses of their potential mother. The copulation on the 8th day ensures birth of sons. Thereafter, the copulation on the even number of days results in the birth of a male child, and on odd days, daughters.
Okay, that's too much information
Hold on.
for you.
So the kind of productive period is hardly available for any other species. The woman should have sweet edibles on the 5th day and refrain from eating bitter and astringent or spicy food. So there's all kinds of weird stuff in here, right? And like this stuff doesn't have a good index, and like a lot of it is super wild. Like there's all kinds of stuff about all kinds of things. And so it's kind of fun for me because I'm digging, because this stuff isn't indexed. So a lot of these things are passed through oral tradition. And, in retrospect, it's not like I gave you sweet edibles the 5th day after copulation, which is why we've got 2 girls.
That's where we went wrong.
I wouldn't say that's going wrong.
I mean, if you should be giving me sweet edibles and you are not giving me sweet edibles, I would say that we are going wrong.
Yes, okay. There were a couple of questions that I wanted to get to that were more serious. So first is, are we going to build more guides? Absolutely. So, we're building them basically as fast as we can. Just to give you all some context, building one guide takes about 8 weeks of scripting time. So there's research time, and then I write for about 8 weeks. The size of a guide in terms of script is basically equivalent to one nonfiction book. So the final manuscript of How to Raise a Healthy Gamer was about the same size as like a guide script. So y'all can think about the investment as basically the time it takes me to write a book is more in many ways because there's editing and all this other crap. So we're going to build more guides. I'm leaning towards something around, so we're probably going to build a guide to addiction next, because that's one that we need to do at some point. And then the other one that I really want to build is like sex, communication, and relationships. And then we may build something on gender-specific mental health as well. So those are the kinds of things. Don't do this.
Don't log in.
No, not here.
We can't type.
If you want to do this, then we should go here. So we want to build more guides for sure. It's just about what we do when.
We are thinking about transitioning
There you
to
type here.
more of like a monthly subscription. I'm interested in what your thoughts are about that instead of like a one-time pay kind of thing. Would that help, or would that, I don't know. Do you want to just kind of pay for it once and be done? I personally hate monthly subscriptions, so
Yeah, that's why. So I don't. I mean, because also, right? Like we're one of the few people on the internet who continues to do this. I mean, memberships I think is a little bit different because the whole goal of that is like for it to be longitudinal and stuff like that. It's also way cheaper, but yeah. So like that was something that you know, we got a lot of advice to do the opposite, right? Because everyone's moving to subscription model, but thank God that we even have people on our dev team who are like, the subscription model is evil.
yeah, no, we so much. Our dev team is awesome, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of why we do what we do is because we're like, monthly subscriptions are annoying. Let's just do one and done. Okay, what's a good price point for one and done? And so the way we price things is essentially
Right,
to
so-
be able to give it to you in something that's a little less, I don't know, spammy, scammy kind of thing.
Right. And I want y'all to just think about this, right? So this is where we get some credit because we did it as a one-time purchase. And I think somewhat reasonably priced. And like, cause like, you know, and so we're committed to doing that kind of stuff to fight the tide of soulless whatever.
So many fights, man.
You have to fight it, dude. It's so hard, man. It's like so hard. So yeah, addiction for sure. And then something around communication and relationships, and then something around gender specific struggles, and then something about sexuality. Like those are all topics. I think the other thing that we oftentimes will explore is whether a guide is the best way to explore a topic.
Can I just get a sense of, okay, so we're doing the trauma module. The trauma module comes out for pre-sale next week. After that, we're debating between addictions, like behavioral and substance abuse, and sex, dating, relationships. Do you guys, okay, one for addictions and two for communication and relationships. Can I just see like what you guys would prefer? One for addictions, two for relationships. Okay, we gotta be able to see chat.
I know. I'm going to just do what you want. I'm in control now.
Oh, Lord help us. All right, I'm seeing a lot of twos from. I thought addictions. I'll look and assess that communication relationships.
No. Who said which guy? Poll coming. Addictions, communication and relationships, sexuality, male, female, mental health. Okay. Right, so this is... Okay, so addiction, communication, and relationships are basically tied.
We need a tiebreaker.
No, I mean, I think then addictions will come first because I think communication and relationships is way... Oh, shit. Communication relationships is winning.
So here's kind of my point of view, and I'm interested in what you would think too. In my point of view, the guides are about mental health topics because coaching has limitations, right? The coaches are not therapists. So the mental health content, like the harder hitting, more technical, more regulated information should be in guides. Whereas coaches, I think, have incredible outcomes navigating individual situations around communication and relationships. So that's kind of how I've been thinking about it, but I'm really interested in what you guys think about that.
Yeah, and I saw someone ask about finding life purpose, so we could build a guide on that. But I think with that's the reason that we have these resource packs and stuff. So we're trying to, like, I know that everybody wants everything, and we're trying to sort of get to it one at a time. The other thing that I've been really wondering about is whether a guide is the best format to work on communication and relationships. So the other super cool thing that I'm starting to appreciate is that we don't need a guide on all topics. Some things are better as a lecture. We did our first workshop, which went really, really well. That workshop was fantastic and people got so much out of it. And it was also difficult in some ways. But I wonder if for communication and relationships, whether there is a different kind of thing. Because when I kind of think about communication and relationships, I really think about a group coaching format is ideal.
Yeah.
So when I do like I was thinking about starting another group recently, but really specifically around relationships. And so because some stuff is like, it's just hard to describe it. Some stuff, like if you guys get to practice stuff and talk about your feelings and other people listen to you and things like that, I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah. So one idea, Tech, if you wanted to jump into chat and clarify this, please feel free to. But one idea we had was evolving groups more around practicing social skills. So yes, definitely a discussion and talking component, but much heavier on the like practicing component. But I definitely think like communication relationships is so individual that you can have all the theory in the world, but you need to be able to like practice it and run things by people. So that's why I like groups for communication relationships too.
Okay.
Alrighty. Any other questions? How are we on time? We're doing okay.
We're okay on time.
Bassy boy, I hear you. Like, making friends as an adult is difficult. Honestly, all looks like my wingman at the playground. He will like go and be like, "She looks like she would be a great friend to you. I'm gonna go talk to her for you." And he will like pick up friends for me at the playground. It is incredible. But some of my best mom friends are his work. Spirituality module.
Well, we have a meditation guide. I was thinking about either doing this on the membership side or as a workshop, but like we did a cool course at HGI about a year ago about developing a personalized meditation practice. It was so this was a course at the Institute for people who are like coaches and mental health professionals. So we all hear that, okay, like for these kinds of professions, right? Oh, like we all like people are teaching mindfulness now as therapists. These professions can be like prone to emotional burnout. So how can we help the people who are delivering mental health services develop their own personalized meditation practice? I think it was one of the most scuffed things that I ever put together, had so many problems, and it was also like really, really great for all the people. Like there were a lot of things that we didn't do right, just in terms of the organization and stuff, but people got such immense value out of that. I'm thinking about whether we should put that together in some way. Yeah, so someone's asking, how do you even create a guide on interpersonal relationships? Too many people at too many stages of emotional intelligence or ability and the eventual romance desperate cringe. Yeah, I hear you. So I think that's part of what makes it challenging. And the reason, even though people voted on addictions and communication relationships, the reason that addictions will probably come first is because making a guide to addictions is way easier than making a guide to communication and relationships. So I've been working on a guide to communication and relationships for 3 years. And the problem is like, I don't know what to include and what not to include. So there's probably, and we're working on it, but I think it's like this will happen. And then we also sort of think about, even things like touch grass and social sandbox, right? So we have so many things in our community that are address those problems. It doesn't necessarily have to be a guide. But ideally, and this is kind of where we're evolving, right? So I guess everyone thought that there was some, big change, like we're going bankrupt or we're buying a ranch or whatever. No, it's just
We went bankrupt because we bought a ranch.
So the main thing is that we're trying to basically, like, the next phase of what we want to do is combine things like information like guides with things like social sandbox, which is very successful, by the way. Right? And it's like, how can we create a situation where y'all can like practice and implement changes, increase accountability? It's silly. Is accountability as neurodivergence? Absolutely. Right? Yeah. Yeah, so people may, and I think a lot of this stuff, so remember, y'all, that we don't have to make a guide about everything, right? So like, we make, we have like 800 or 1,000 videos on our YouTube channel. And so so just to give y'all an example, I'm working on 2 videos right now, 2 lectures, one on autism, being an autistic woman, and the second is being a woman and having ADHD. Because, for example, like girls get underdiagnosed with ADHD because they tend to be less hyperactive. And the hyperactive symptoms are the things that really cause problems and lead to an early diagnosis. So girls are more likely to engage in a lot of compensatory and masking behaviors, which means that they get underdiagnosed. And so the other thing is that's kind of wild is there's hormonal manifestations or hormonal changes that will affect things like concentration and potentially even aspects of neurodivergence. So there's a lot of like stuff there that needs to be talked about. So like one thing just to keep in mind, no matter all this stuff that we do, more guides, more memberships, whatever, like our bread and butter of making free mental health content and putting it on the internet on a weekly basis that is inspired, evidence-based, and high quality, like our commitment to that is not changing. And I think it's just because we're doing so this is the key thing to understand. We're not replacing any of the stuff that we do for free. It's always in addition. And then the question is, how do we fund that stuff? So I've got a bank of like 5 or 6 really great videos that I'm working on right now. Lectures, call them whatever you want to. There may be 1 or 2 deep dives in there. We haven't given up on deep dives, right? So we do them occasionally. And so not everything has...
A 2-hour deep dive stream probably takes like 12 hours to prepare, just by the way.
Yeah. So Kruti was asking, was I reading something? And like, yeah, I won't grab it. It's okay.
Great. Hey, I have a question for you guys. So as we try to package up all of this content and these kinds of community events, and also these like experiential kind of skills-based programs, would you rather see that in an app or would you rather see that in like a membership kind of model? Like, would you rather it just be available on your content platforms and be able to log in that way, or would you prefer it in an app? Yeah. Can somebody that's not Alok run the poll? Tectel, are you there?
I think Danana has things under control on Twitch.
All right, cool.
I see she is present, and when she is present, I function normally.
Yeah, Danana is a real one. Another person that's been with us for over 4 years.
She doesn't know how to poll. I'm on it, Danana.
Oh no.
You don't have to do everything.
Oh no.
I can do some things myself.
Honestly,
Believe in me,
just the
chat.
fact that Alok can get from like this room into
Okay.
a podcast
What
with
was
somebody
the
else
question?
is all Danana. I'm wondering should we build an app, essentially? I've always thought, no, I think it's too much work to maintain too much stuff, and it's 2024, who needs another app? But, there's a lot of added benefit because we can do things exactly
So the options are
the way we
app,
want. Would you rather see like a membership that is on a Patreon or a YouTube membership or something like that? Or would you rather have it in an app?
Should I remove this option?
Yeah, anytime you can simplify, we simplify. App or membership? Website is the best. No, install. Keep costs down. I agree. I'm biasing you, and I'm almost positive if you know, if like our product team was more present here, they would be able to argue all of the, you know, extra features and functionality we could do with an app. The main thing that we really want to be able to do, so we have, I don't know if y'all know this, we have, I think, 7 research studies going right now on the efficacy of all of our different programs. One thing we really want to bake in is like, when you start this membership experience or this monthly experience, kind of what does your baseline mental health look like? And then what real benefit, what real world outcome does this program drive? So we're trying to put together a pretty sophisticated like learning model, I guess, like what we call like the client profile, where we can really understand, okay, if by watching this guide, did this person's ADHD actually get better? Did their depression actually get better? So we're trying to measure that, which I think is enabled by an app, but I'm wondering if we can do it without that. Mobile compatibility for the platform, totally agree. The developers have put a ton in to make the guides more mobile friendly. So when the trauma module comes out, you're going to see a lot of enhanced mobile functionality and a lot better indexing and organization in general. Swanson, yes, we will be continuing to grow the coaching program. Okay, well, this has been super helpful, and it's been really fun to kind of get to spend time with you guys. I have a bunch of meetings and things that I need to get to. Do you want to wrap up with everyone?
Sure, I'll do that.
All right, cool.
And you
Thanks,
can take
chat.
your chair out of the
I
room.
appreciate it.
Thank you for bringing
I
it in.
will take it.
Yeah, we got to figure out this. I mean, these guys, everybody works so hard here.
Yeah.
So huge shout out. You know, I know everyone's like, oh, volume is low. Like, I think it's, we've had people come in and look at the setup, and we've changed out.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
Please check out the impact report. I don't know if you guys, if mods, y'all can link it in chat, but we're really, really proud of everything that we got to accomplish last year. And we're really excited to grow the Institute and all of our community experiences this year. Always open to feedback. The whole point of this is to make stuff for you guys. So it's been cool hanging out with you. Bye.
Yeah, anger management, you know, it's great that you mentioned anger management. So one of the really interesting things is that anger management as a topic underperforms.
Are you going to clean this ever?
Yeah. Ever. So I mean, I get super excited learning about anger. I got a great book by Aaron Beck on anger, which I thought was good, but like, I don't know why. It's just people don't seem to care about anger. But we'll still continue making it, right? So this is also where we make videos all the time that we think won't perform well because we think they should be made.
I can't get out.
How did you get in?
I don't know.
Maybe you made a mess on the way in, which is why you can't get out. Well, the
7 sets of keys here.
yeah. Give me a second, chat. Here, I help.
I'm a hostage.
Yes. That's the way that.
You guys, If y'all can please, can we please get Alok to clean his room? He's wheeling my chair out, and on the way, this chair has picked up one mask, like a COVID mask, 3 sets of keys. It's stumbled over, I don't know, like 12 piles of paper. It's crazy.
Take your water.
I will expose you.
Expose it too. If you keep exposing me, then I may have to feed you sweet edibles the 5th day after your whatever menses for after copulation. Generally speaking, I find that feeding you sweet edibles works better before copulation, but I wasn't reading the Garad Puran. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, some things are clean in my place and some things are not clean. I don't know if y'all do this, which this is what I do, where when I clean something, I make a mess first. So I dump everything on the floor and I like organize it, and then like I never finish. Cleanliness is a core part of spirituality. So right now, my room is in this phase of. It's just because I've been like just traveling so much. I have like 2 media things a week. I've been to like California, New York, like over the last month, which is awesome. I'm not complaining, but it's like in the grand scheme of things, I think it's okay to be messy during this particular period. And I actually cleaned this morning because now I'm like back. And then this weekend, I'm going to just be making stuff. It's going to be Dr. K going. Okay. So I think we're at time for the day. Sorry we didn't get to everybody's questions, but you know, I guess we should have been pretty clear. There's not the way we were talking at the beginning, everyone was like, oh my God, what's happening? Are y'all bankrupt? No, we're not bankrupt. We're just sharing with y'all because this used to be a lot more organic. The community used to be way smaller, right? So it's like the same 200 people are showing up and we're thinking through things together, and like I could follow what chat said. And now things have changed a little bit. We've got bigger teams. We're trying to do more, and it's very helpful for us to know what y'all want, because everything that we build is, it's not like we're sitting there and like, we're like, oh, you know what I think the people really need? They really want $25 horse armor DLC. That's what the people need. So that's what we're going to build. So we tend to actually ask y'all, hey, what do y'all want? And even with this stuff, like we're committed to trying to make as much mental health stuff, resources, content, tools as we can. And then it's just an issue of like, okay, do we do it? If we do it one particular way, we grow half as fast. If we do it a different particular way, we grow twice as fast, but we make certain trade-offs. And that's how it is, like karmically, right? So either you take that sponsorship and you get that sweet crypto coin, and then we have more money to build free stuff. But we've chosen not to do that. So we just wanted to share that perspective with y'all. We don't, I know a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. Our biggest problem is that y'all don't agree, right? So we're happy to do what y'all want, and that's usually what we do. So even now, like when y'all say, okay, we want y'all to build these 2 guides, those are the 2 things that I'm going to work on. And when y'all say we like, platform specific stuff as opposed to an app, like that's what we'll lean into. And then at some point there may be some, once there's a good enough reason, we may migrate over. But right now we're trying to build everything on the platform, which our dev team has done an awesome job. And cool. People saying, does a couple of last questions. Yeah, that was my wife. Someone saying, I like trains. Cool. I've never understood the appeal. I mean, I like riding on trains. Like I took a train in Europe once from the Netherlands to France, and it was like amazing. Does making HG bigger scare you? It doesn't scare me. I like it less. it makes things complicated. And it means that we have to spend brain power, or I have to spend brain power on things that I don't enjoy spending brain power on. But I'm not scared of it. It's just, so I don't know if y'all know this, but we had, back in the day, we had a retreat. We held an in-person retreat. And like 9 or 10 people, 8, 9, 10 people showed up from like all corners of, I think, the United States and Canada. And we had been streaming for maybe about a year. And I was like, we should have a retreat. There was like 100 people, or not a year, maybe it was 6 months. Something like that. And it was great. I rented out an Airbnb. People just had to pay for their flights. And then it was like manageable. And like we cooked together, and we like meditated together, and we went on hikes and stuff together. But we can't do that now. Right? So, and it's cool because even people who now like work for us, like there were some of our, I want to say that 3 or 4 people from the retreat, like 40% of people who came were working with us in some way. And now I think only 1 or 2 of those people are left. One person has left and started their own company, which is doing really well, and they're crushing it. Another person is halfway through a PhD, and they're doing really well, which is great. But we just can't, it just gets complicated when things get big. But, yeah. Will the parenting course have additions? Probably at some point, but I think we're trying to set up more of a robust, like Q&A kind of thing. So we're definitely seeing a lot of influx of people into our community because of the book, and so those people need support too. So, speaking of other things that we're building more robust resources to support parents. Are you worried that as you expand your core message, AIM gets diluted? 100%. It has to. See, staying to your core message is a luxury that must be bought in certain ways. So I've seen the operations of many different organizations, including very mission-driven organizations. And, there's a, anyway, I'm not going to give examples, but absolutely, right? So, like, it's easy to hold a retreat and have it be free when 9 people are showing up and I have a doctor's salary. It's hard to do that when there's like 2 million of y'all and we try to build a bunch of stuff for free. So there's certain like things that used to be simple, which now become complicated. And that's one of the things that I've learned, which is just the price of growth. And the trauma module will probably come out in about a month. Do you plan to always be the face of Healthy Gamer? I certainly hope not. I never wanted to be the face of Healthy Gamer. Yeah, Melissa Starlight saying, I miss the one-on-one with viewers. I do too. I mean, honestly, I miss it a lot. So, like, there's a reason why we started with that, because that's what I personally find gratifying and enjoyable. Like, I like just talking to people. And then this whole thing started. So this is something that we've seen. We've worked with about 500 content creators here at HG, and what we always find is the same pattern, which is that the bigger that you grow as a content creator, the less freedom you have. But anyway. Yeah, scaling is hard. It is. Yeah, trauma module, hopefully in about a month. So I think we did didn't we? I show speed. Oh yeah, dude. I'm down to do a stream with I show speed. Let's do it. Thunder stream. Yes, see, original people who were back in the day. Yeah, we got to work on that. I owe y'all a lot. It's great. Mr. Beast will give me the money. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Tech Teller is saying no. No to what? I show speed. Mr. Beast. Look, so generally speaking, just a quick reminder, right? About we're generally speaking, we're open to talking to many people. I'm not saying we're going to talk to everybody, but like, I think part of what I believe just as a psychiatrist and what I've learned is that like most people are fundamentally decent human beings, and that the majority of them are just trying to do the right thing. And based on the way that they've been raised or what they're struggling with internally, that usually results in a lot of behaviors that get harshly judged. And so what we try to do here is have conversations with people about what their experience of being, what's it like to be in life. Yeah, so someone's saying I should just do what I should just do what I like, limit the people, and just enjoy yourself. I wish I had that luxury, but I decided some time ago that I get to enjoy some things in life, but this life is not primarily for my enjoyment. It's primarily service. And maybe that'll change. Maybe one day I'll wake up and I'll say, you know, helping X number of, whether it's 100, 1,000, 10,000, a million. I don't know how many people I've helped at this point. I have no idea how to quantify that. Maybe one day I'll wake up and I'll say that's enough, but that hasn't happened yet. So it's kind of weird, but you know, Kruti and I actually had a conversation about 6-8 months ago about like, what are we really entitled to in life? So like, we could do things differently, but why are we more deserving than... So we work really hard, and there's a very common kind of idea that, okay, if you work really hard, you deserve good stuff, which I'm not against by any means. And at the same time, like, do I work any harder than like a single parent who's working 2 jobs and trying to support their family? And like, no, I don't think so. I mean, I've had plenty of those people as my patients, and they work really hard too. So I try to get what enjoyment I can where I can, and I try to spend most of my week like trying to make the world a slightly better place, because in my life, there were people who did that for me, and that's the only way it works. But I appreciate the sentiment. How can we best support your mental health? Giving you money? I wish the answer to that was yes, but I think my mental health is primarily my responsibility, but I appreciate the sentiment. One thing I will say is that I think people underestimate. So people will make comments, they'll post things in chat, they'll post things on subreddits, they'll post things on YouTube comments. I think oftentimes when we post things on the internet, we do not think about how it affects the person who's reading it. Or what we do is we justify our actions based on some perception of what their life is like. Because this person did this, it's okay for me to be cruel to them. And oftentimes we don't see it as cruelty. We see it as I'm being honest, or I'm holding them accountable, or they deserve this. But there's just a lot of nastiness on the internet. And I think just even being a content creator, like sometimes I see it, right? And I notice the effect it has on me. And it does have a very real effect. And I think oftentimes when we complain, we don't really think about, we feel fully justified in the complaint, which is fine. But we oftentimes don't think about the impact that it has on other people. So I'd encourage all of you to really think about the impact of your words, and as best as possible, try to be as nonviolent with them as possible. So even if you have feedback to give, you know, just think about the people in your life who the feedback is kind of an emotional attack, and the feedback is well thought out and comes from a place of positivity. And this isn't just about me. I mean, I think I'm quite lucky, and for the majority of our community is incredibly, incredibly nice. And that, by the way, y'all deserve huge praise for, because like part of the reason I continue doing this is because for every bad apple, there's like 99 of y'all that are awesome. Like I was eating a taco the other day, and someone walked up to me and was like, hey, "Are you Dr. K?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Hey, I appreciate the work you do. It's helped me a lot." And then we kind of stood there awkwardly for a little while, and I was asking the person, I was like, "Hey, do you want a picture?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm good." And I'm like, "Hell yeah." Fist bump. Because I never know if people sometimes want pictures, and it's like, that's fine. You can ask. I don't mind. But I never know. And people are super nice. I've noticed that sometimes people will, like if I'm with my family, they don't bother me or anything, and I'm very grateful for that. And if y'all do see me on the street, like it's okay to say hi. Like that's fine. I'm not so important that, oh my God, I can't say hi back. And if I'm having a rough day, I'll let you know. But I think really like the best thing that you can do for me, I think we've made it clear today what we do with the money or what we want money for. But it's not to give us more money. It's take the effort that we're putting in and build a life that's worth living. Like utilize our resources. That's honestly what we're here for. So the reason we build it is for y'all to use. Right? So what's the best thing you can do for someone who like makes you a sandwich is to eat the sandwich and try to enjoy it as best as possible. You have GERD and inflammation. How do you feel better? What a great question. Maybe we'll start talking about things like GERD more. I did a lot of clinical work with people who had GERD. So it's weird. I got all these like, there's a video in the trauma guide about somatic illness, which we call kind of psychosomatic illness. But with GERD, it's a little bit different, but depends on the source of your GERD, right? So talk to a doctor because we have things like proton pump inhibitors and things like that that can help with a lot with GERD. But there's also all kinds of cool stuff on probiotics. So studies show that, like, for example, kimchi or yogurt or what's it called? Not just yogurt, but doog. What's the other name for it? Kefir. Not the lime leaves, but kefir, the yogurt-based stuff. There's some evidence that some of these probiotic things can actually be good for GERD. But we've got pretty good medicine for it if you guys just see a doctor. And then the last thing is for inflammation. We've got some stuff coming out. We have a video hopefully coming out soon on ADHD and obesity, which is like mind-blowing. But there's a lot of stuff. There's some stuff in there about inflammation. GERD is gastroesophageal reflux disease. Yeah, this is a complicated question. So maybe I'll think about this and we'll talk a little bit about gut microbiome, but it's complicated, TLDR. But there are studies for some of this stuff. Let's just do a quick. Here we go. Let's see. Let's learn together, chat. We're going to look at this thing and then we're going to call it, okay? Because GERD is very common. Let's look together. Gastroesophageal reflux disease and probiotics, a systematic review published about 4 years ago. So there should be some more data on this. Let's take a quick look. 13 prospective studies, not bad. Okay, so it looks like 5 high-quality studies, 6 low-quality studies. So 11 studies, 79% reported positive effects of probiotics on GERD. So it looks like nausea was improved. Okay. However, proper placebo-controlled randomized and double-blind trials with a sufficient number of participants are warranted to confirm the efficacy of its symptoms. So it seems like if we look at a meta-analysis, the takeaway is there are not great studies, but that there seems to be a very noticeable effect. My take as a clinician is that the effect, not all probiotics are the same. And, yeah, but, Please ask Alok to finish the trauma module map after with me. Okay, so I have work to do. It looks like I have some stuff to do for the trauma module. So I'm going to get to that because our awesome person Trinian needs my help. Yeah, poor Mike. I know, dude. I don't know what to do. We've used 2 different mixers. I've used 3 different microphones, and for some reason or other, the sound is always low. So thank y'all very much for coming today, and we hope to see y'all again soon. Let me see what's next for us in streaming. There's dyspepsia. Let's close that. Let me see. Are we streaming on Friday? Okay. Oh, so we have a members Q&A tomorrow. Great. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. If we have a members Q&A tomorrow, but otherwise I think I'm streaming next week. As always, if y'all want particular topics, like someone posted about financial health, I recently met Caleb Hammer, so we may try to set up a collab with him. But I think it's like, tell us what you guys want us to build, and that's what we're here for. We're here to build what you want, okay? And what's helpful to you. And then we'll do our best to keep y'all in the loop for why we're building, what we're working on. And, that's what we're here for. So thank you guys very much. Thank you all for being a part of this journey so far, supporting the work that we do. We literally could not be here without you, because y'all field the questions, y'all contribute to the community, y'all show up on Discord, and then y'all also do things like try our coaching program, buy the guides. And by the way, since so many people bought guides, that's why we could build more and more. So we always try to take the resources that y'all give us and turn it into more stuff for y'all. So thank y'all very much, and take care, and we'll see y'all potentially tomorrow.